I took classes online with Columbia for an entire academic year from Ireland, so an entirely different country, so there's absolutely no opportunity for me to meet people in real life. But I still managed to make some meaningful connections. It took some work, but I've certainly reaped the benefits of putting effort into online connections, as first of all, I felt connected to Columbia while I was in a different country and doing classes online. Secondly, I came here to New York and I was able to meet those friends in person. While things are opening up more and more, and there is more of a chance that many universities and schools will be fully in person for the next academic year, online learning will definitely still be a part of our lives, especially because of the unpredictable nature of the pandemic. So whether you're a distant learner like I was this past year, or a commuter, or your institution has decided to keep a lot of school activities online, or they are making the academic year hybrid in some ways, so you will still be using online platforms. Whatever your situation is, it is still super valuable to learn how to connect with others and to build relationships online. Not only will it help you gain some technical, but also networking skills. Online relationships are crucial if you want to stay connected to your school or college and you want to meet people but you can't meet them in person in order to prevent feeling isolated in your academic studies. Here are some things that I learned in my year of making friends online. My first tip is to join group chats, whether that's your entire year group chat or certain classes you have group chats for. Definitely join them. If a certain class or your year group hasn't made a group chat, you may have to take initiative and make it yourself. If you're nervous about making a group chat because it feels daunting, you can always reach out to one classmate and ask if they would like to help you to create this group. But I would suggest every now and then to take initiative and just make the group chat yourself, because that in itself will help you gain confidence in leading and leadership and networking, so it's a good thing to try out. But hopefully for the most part, you won't have to do too much work in that. You can just join group chats that are already made. Group chats are very good because you can get everyone's contact details, whether that's their number, their Facebook profiles, whatever platform you're using for the group chat. It's a good starter point because then you at least know everyone's name, you know how you can contact them if you do want to contact them. Breakout rooms can be pretty awful. I suggest if there's an awkward silence in a breakout room, whether you're doing an assignment or it's a social breakout room, is to just break the ice by just saying, "Hi, I'm Jane," or whatever your name is, and ask everyone how they're feeling. Sometimes you'll be people that are very chatty and you'll just get the work done, and sometimes you'll just be met with blank screens and muted Zoom accounts. So in those situations, you just gotta go with flow. But in order to put yourself out there and make it easier for people to remember you and therefore easier to make connections, you've got to just be upfront and just go, "Hi, let's start this task." You can always take a step back in certain ways and like suggest, "Oh, what are anyone else's ideas?" You know, like try and get others involved if like, you know, the others aren't as into the task or into the activity as you are. Most of the time you're doing an activity and it's timed, so you'll just be able to be like, "Hey guys, we should probably get working on this." Connect with people during or after breakout rooms or discussions. Sometimes you'll see someone in a class or in a club meeting or a similar situation on Zoom and you'll be like, "Hey, they seem cool. I want to reach out to them and see if they're interested in being friends." So the best thing to do is to just reach out to them. You can do this during the class by Zoom message, but you can also just reach out to them by email. You'll usually be able to access their email if you're in university with them, or if you're in a group chat with them, you can always send a message that way. Here are some ways you can reach out to a certain person and start a conversation naturally. It's hard to just start a conversation with someone and be like, "Hey, you're cool, want to be friends?" If you're in person, then one of the first things you might do is be like, "Hey, do you want to meet up for coffee?" But since you're online and you won't be able to meet this person, you can always ask them something about the class, whether that's a homework question or advice on how to study a certain topic. Or if you're in a club with them, you can suggest working on something together, depending on what your club does. You can share with them a resource that you found helpful, whether that's a website or a video related to your class, your club, or whatever activity you're doing. Or one of my favorite things to do is just compliment them. Compliment them on their work. Say that, "Oh, the point you made in discussion today was really good." Or you can literally just compliment their makeup in class or their background or their outfit be appropriate, of course. People remember compliments, so it's something that can definitely lead to some sort of conversation. But of course, do respect boundaries when it comes to compliments. One of the easiest ways to connect with people is to add them on social media. Sometimes after a few classes with some people or a few meetings in a club with some classmates, I would find them on Instagram and add them. Doesn't necessarily mean I will start a conversation with them, but it means I'm in the loop with them. Maybe I'll be able to start a conversation with them if they share something particular on their story, and that way I can gradually and naturally build relationships with them. Discussion boards and study groups. I would recommend taking advantage of discussion boards, especially if they're discussion boards for any classes or groups in which you are introducing yourselves. Definitely put some effort into them and respond to people's ideas, because they will read the responses to their ideas. And then they'll see, oh cool, Jane has agreed with me on this point. So since you're putting work into discussion boards anyway, I would suggest putting even more work and replying to other people's ideas. Study groups are also really valuable. I kept up with a friend by doing study sessions, and I attended a few study sessions for an astronomy class. Similar to creating a group chat, creating a study group can be done, through Zoom. Say if anyone wants to join a study group, let me know, or you can put it into the group chat that you're in. It kills two birds with one stone, because you're getting work done, but you're also meeting people over Zoom and connecting. Join clubs. Now, of course, it's hard to know how clubs will function this coming year when a lot of schools and universities will be moving back to in-person, but there are definitely some clubs that I think will still be accessible online. For example, I joined Columbia Spectator, and a lot of the work that is involved in writing and journalism clubs is online anyway. Even though I was 5 hours ahead in time difference, I was sometimes able to join the late night meetings, or I was able to watch the recordings, but most of the work involved me writing Google Docs and sending it to my editors and getting it edited. But joining clubs, especially if they're very accessible online, is definitely a great idea, because then you can meet people outside of academic situations. Colleges have many clubs that cater to many interests. And speaking of interests, I would also suggest attending social nights or going to events that involve something that you like. Going to these events helps you get yourself out there in the online world and get your face seen, and seem more likely to be known in your community. And being present makes it easier to meet people and then make friends. I highly recommend attending trivia or quiz nights, because it's an organized activity. You're put into groups and you have to work together, and then you can always find common interests through the quiz questions you're working on. Or I'd recommend attending events organized by your department or your club, because at those events you'll also find people with similar interests to you as well. And my last piece of advice is to say yes. Say yes to as many things as possible. Be open to new opportunities. For example, I said yes to making group chats. I said yes to attending a study group, the astronomy one, and I said yes to joining a club after a classmate DM'd me. Finding more and more opportunities to meet people means it's more likely for you to make connections. After saying yes to many a Zoom meeting or many a group collaboration, I felt connected to Columbia even though I was literally across the ocean, and I established communities and friend groups that I would be able to connect with once I got to New York. So it is possible to make meaningful connections online. It's all about putting time and effort into it. You can't expect immediate results. Like, you can't expect a friend group to just fall into your lap. Friendships don't bloom overnight, they develop over time. So taking initiative to make group chats and reaching out to people can be tiring, especially if you're someone that doesn't do that very often, because you have to kind of train that social muscle to do that kind of thing. But putting in the effort will only lead to you walking away from online learning feeling more connected to the institution you're in. So if your confidence in being social is kind of waning, I suggest taking it slow. I suggest taking it slow anyway, because rushing into relationships and forcing them doesn't always lead to very natural results. But yes, if you feel you're not very confident with these kind of things, take your time. Start slowly by joining your group chat, and then next time reach out to one person, and then the next time for another group, another class, whatever, make the group chat. So I hope you feel somewhat empowered and excited to reach out to people and make connections online, whatever your situation is. I want to remind you, it's not an easy task. Socializing in person is also not an easy task. Socializing online and over Zoom can be tiring, so take your time with it. Be patient. Be kind to yourself. You can slowly develop your confidence, and from that you can build your networking skills and your leadership skills. It actually is really valuable to not just, you and making friends, but it can be valuable to you and your career. When it comes to getting the chance to build your network and develop more meaningful relationships, slow and steady always wins the race. Best of luck.